Alright, so this is a trend review, basically of the euro, and all I'm going to do is just review some concepts um, that I've learned over time, and just go over them. So this is the euro, and as you can see, it was in a downtrend, and then what was so striking um, was this. So off the euro, there's 46,000 contracts, and that's after it climaxed over here. How do I know it climaxed? I don't really know for certain, but it's heavy volume, big wave down, getting into oversold condition, and it has secondary tests, which is quite low, relatively speaking, less than 50%. So after that, you can expect, like, if it is a climax and a secondary test or a shortening of the thrust, you can expect um, a sign of strength or a big wave, or the big wave with volume. And this was really slick because here, why is this interesting? You see, climax volume is 48,000. When they rallied, it's 46,000. So these guys that are selling, they're also buying. It's like, how should I say? They're this is accumulation, okay. But what's slick about this is that they kept it under the prior low. You know what I mean? Like, it did not. It didn't. You see over here is 48,000, and you can see how much price progress. You see the from top to bottom, how much of a range. Look at this. Look at the range here. It's not a lot because they're tightly controlling the range and buying within that range over a period of time, right? So the only way you can detect that is through volume. You cannot detect it if it was just based on price alone. In fact, you might just think, oh yeah, it's a lower high and all that, so, but this is not a regular wave. This was accumulation here. After that, there was a low volume pullback on 6,000. They went up. It wasn't ready to go. They want to shake it out some more. This is a shakeout maneuver after accumulation. Now, a lot of times after accumulation, you might have a spring, or after a sign of strength, you might have a spring. But sometimes you do, especially in downtrends. It's almost always they do a spring if you count the trend on the upside. Like when it's in a downtrend, there's like forever and ever there's a shakeout or a spring or something. Anyway, so it goes over here, 46,000, low volume pullback on 6,000, up on 2,000. It's not ready to go. Now at this point, you might think, like, looking at this must be effort reward, but it's not effort reward. And you would know that just by taking a look at it. Like, after all of these waves, they're not. You get a sense that, okay, if it was effort reward, it would probably occur higher up. Well, why would they distribute down here? Why not distribute higher up in the downtrend? So that's how this high volume over here is basically accumulation, and this was a shakeout. After the shakeout, there is a test. Very, very important. This is a low volume test. Very important, but what's even more important is right here. On this pullback here is 11,000, yet it's not making lower lows. So this is your effort reward. Okay, this is your effort reward. And according to Wyckoff, he wrote an article, and in the article it was titled "How the Law of Supply and Demand Works." In that article, he gave two examples, and he said, let's say you want to buy, and you're like, okay, I want to buy, I don't know, not you, but like the CM, he wants to buy 30,000 contracts. All right. So if he wants to buy 30,000 contracts and supply is weak, price will make a lot of progress. Meaning, the way Wyckoff described it, the radius which is basically the line, the wave line, the up wave line or the down wave line, but he called it the radius. What he's trying to say is from that point on, you would have a big radius. So he's saying that if there was a sign of strength, would be indicated by a person with a large order and price making a lot of headway. It's going up a lot. Then he also gave another example of a sign of strength, which we call effort reward today. I think he called it an indication of strength. Okay, and he said, in this example, if you sell 30,000 and it's not making a lot of progress, meaning they're buying very close to the last price, that means that that someone's selling 30,000, but someone is buying 30,000 and not letting the price go down. So the radius is small. Now today we call that effort reward. Over here is exactly that indication, where you see you can compare the waves. On this wave, 5,000 is this much damage, meaning it went down this much. Now 11,000, which is greater than 5,000, over double the amount, is not able to go that much lower. In fact, it's a higher low. So this is an example or an indication of a bullish indication of strength. And in fact, he actually called this a type of sign of strength. Not my words, his words. That's what we call effort reward today. So this is one type. For when it's selling and price doesn't go down, it's an indication of strength. And when you're buying and price does go up, it means supply cannot hold it down, cannot hold price down. That is also an indication on strength on the buy side. So the sell side is effort reward, buy side is a big wave. So this is very key point. Anyway, so it goes down here. You have effort reward, high volume, 11,000, but it's unable to break the lows. Then you have this breakout and a move up on 25,000. Alright, but really, like, you would only know to look for all of this. I mean, you could determine it as it's happening, but this right here, the 46,000 was the real indication, because I saw this 48. It's like, okay, this is climactic movement. Alright, this is climactic movement. Alright, this 53 then went down 6, then went up here, then 46, and then on 18, and then 46 up. So 48, 46, they're buying it back. So anyway, so then after all this, 5,000 low volume, tested 11,000 high volume, higher low test, which means they're buying, effort reward indication, and then a rally that breaks out above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 highs. Bang. Trend is up. It pulls back on 18,000, but understand that the pullback is going right to the area. I mean, I guess you could call it jump the creek or whatever, but the point is, rallies pull back to test, breaks right here, pull back, breakout. So it's in an uptrend now. Alright, so now it makes a higher high, then it pulls back to test, and it's going right, as expected in that area, and coming back down on 11,000, low volume pullback test, and making higher highs. Look, 25,000, 25,000, 11,000 pullback, less than half, goes up, and this is a little disconcerting because it went from 25 to 8, but supply needs to prove itself, not demand. So you're watching the pullbacks, you're watching the down waves, and the down waves, they're very clear in that, it's 4,000. That's the lowest volume in the entire 1, 2, 3, at least 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, and I think like 1, 2, 3, so 3 up waves and 3 down waves. It's low volume. On the pullback, only 4,000. Then it shoots to 22,000. This concerns, because in my point, in my viewpoint, this is climactic. Why? Look at the angle of ascent. Look at this rally, right? It's actually stronger than the first. I guess you can call this sign of strength or first breakout or whatever. So this is stronger than this, meaning in terms of the slope, how it's going parabolic. See, like it has a sharper slope. It has significant volume, and it overshoots. It just goes straight up. But I want to see indications of selling, and I got that 34,000. 34,000 is bigger than all of these waves. So someone is selling the high. That's it. Someone is sold this high. Alright, now the thing is, it pulled back on 34,000 right to former resistance. Okay, so it tested, but now it's. Does that mean just take a short? No, it doesn't mean it. It does not mean that. They sold 34,000, but you don't know if there's going to be reaccumulation. So I have to check to see um, if demand is weak and if supply continues to be strong. It's very, very important. I think that because this is actually a resistance area in a higher time frame, so they sold that resistance area from a higher time frame. So it's going to get very interesting, and visually you can really. Let me try to make it more clear. Look, look at all this red. Look at this red. Does that seem like a normal pullback? Or does that seem like a sign of weakness? Okay, this was the green, right? Like over here that I said was initial accumulation. Isn't this like comparative in its. Doesn't this stand out? It's bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down waves. That looks like selling off the highs, right? Now, does that mean the trend is going to turn immediately? No. You could have an upthrust of the high, especially with this currency markets. For some reason, they they thrive on screwing people. So, like over here, be mindful of the upthrust. Be mindful of a lot of maneuvers and stop runs. So be careful of that. Anyway, this is the review of the Euro USD, and that's a lot of volume. Take care, bye.